First thing I'd like to do is bring your attention to the update sheet, because there has been some amended plans. These plans show an extract, and where the extract would be, some changes to that. Still goes out to the alley behind the existing property. And also a condition is also proposed to restrict the ground floor so that it is retained just as a restaurant, which is in accordance with the wider consent for the site. So, proposal is for a change of use from cafe, which is use class EA, to a restaurant and bar, which is use class EB and sui generis. The proposal also involves mezzanine, which doesn't require planning permission, and an extractor. So the planning history is quite relevant here, is that the Civic Centre permission involved a number of units underneath the Civic Centre, which could either be what was at the time A1 or A3, which is now EA and EB. So this proposal is in line with those issues. So the site you obviously will be well known, existing floor plates, and existing elevations. Side, it's very easy to change the slide, showing the existing section, and there's an existing suspended ceiling, which will be replaced with the mezzanine floor. I'll show that in a little while. So in terms of the proposed ground floor, you have entrance on this side, tables, servery, same WC. I was going to ask a question. And there's stairs up to the upper floor. There is no lift. Being proposed. So in terms of proposed mezzanine, stairs up from the ground floor. And if you come back to that, there's also a separate entrance on the side as well, which gives access to the bar area. And as you can see, has this circular bar area with tables and room on the upper floor. So in terms of the section, you can see inserting the mezzanine, and then the flue extract goes out to the alley at the back, showing the existing property. And then come back to this. So the main issues here are about the loss of the existing use. Unfortunately, we can't protect existing businesses, so there's no in principle issue about the loss of the existing business. Then you obviously need to go on to the position about whether the proposed use is acceptable. The site is in what is termed the primary frontage within the town centre. So policy PR6 of the local plan applies, which seeks to protect the existing retail offer by preventing uses which do not maintain the vitality and viability of the town centre. Policy PR11 and the Harlow Town Centre Area Action Plan encourage the nighttime economy. So it's considered that the ground floor is in accordance with the existing permission, and also there is also a condition that will retain within the uses EA and EB. And also essentially the first floor, even though it would be contrary to PR6, it is acceptable given the thrust in policy PR11 and also the area action plan is towards the nighttime economy, that the additional floor space is a benefit and would not harm the vitality and viability of the town centre. So on that basis, the recommendation is to grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Thank you very much. Right, there's no speakers, so we go straight to council members for questions and clarification. Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Chair. I just want some clarification over the lack of the lift to the higher mezzanine floor. I don't know whether there's a legal obligation from planning to do that, but I am concerned that that's not there for people with disabilities on the mezzanine floor. So can I clarify that it's not, we can't vote this out because it isn't there, but isn't there a legal reason that I should be one?
Disabled access is important. It's an important consideration in any planning application. The question is whether the proposed mezzanine, by the fact that it doesn't have a lift, there is sufficient harm to refuse the application because it does not provide access for people with disabilities. The whole question of disability access is largely covered by building regulation approval and is covered by a different consent regime. And in this instance, all the proposal would have to meet, obviously, building regulation approval. So as it's dealt with by other legislation, and it's not a significant issue, there's no merit in refusing the application on that ground.
Councillor, anybody else got questions or clarification? No? Open to debate? Anybody want to make any comments? Councillor Blevins.
Well, Chairman, disappointed that it's having to change because as far as it stands, or as it has been stood for many years now, as a coffee shop, many people have used it and appreciated it as that. I do understand where we are coming from with this, and I will be supporting it because I'm sure people will get used to having a restaurant there and a bar upstairs, which will probably be very useful and used by lots of people. But yeah, still in the back of my mind, a slight disappointment in that the coffee shop that was so popular is no longer going to be.
Councillor Clark.
Yes, I do agree. I agree with the comments on loss of use and the community feel about it. And it is one of the few cafes in the town as well. But having said that, and it is a loss of amenity, but if it's no longer viable, then if you argued on the community use, which looks as if it's about the only argument you could use in support of it or against the officer recommendation, then you're not sure that it's going to be viable anyway. So reluctantly, because they sell excellent coffee, but hopefully they still will, one has to support it, and on the grounds that it will improve the nighttime economy and the vitality of the town centre and all those arguments. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
I reiterate everything that Sue and Councillor Clark has actually put forward in the sense of loss of community, but also my only concern, and I concur with what was actually said about disabilities. I am just a little concerned there's not a lift there, but they have made provisions for disabilities there. I just hope that it doesn't put off the nighttime aspect. When we have a restaurant at the bottom and a wine bar at the actual top, that they can feel that they can't dwell there longer.
Anybody else? No?
I can't really, I'd agree, you know, this is a loss, coffee bar, I've used it a couple of times, but you know, the new one, it would be helpful for the nighttime economy, and it's hopefully a thriving business and restaurant, and will bring in a lot more trade into the town, which is what we want. You know, we need to develop the town, and I'm not saying it's Esquires didn't call it wasn't a good thing for the town, but hopefully this will improve it and bring in more people. So, having said that,
We'll go to the recommendation, which is on page 11, which is to grant, and so it's that recommendation but with the amended conditions. So all those in favour? That's unanimous. Yep.